All right, folks. So in this video, I'd like to show you all the MACD, or the Moving Average Convergence Divergence Indicator. This is another excellent tool to use in your technical analysis to figure out the price direction or the momentum of a stock's price on these charts. Um, it's one of the more commonly used indicators around the world, and that's because it's pretty effective and it delivers very often on momentum-based trading. I'll say that. So without further ado, let's get into it. So what it is really. Now, the MACD, Moving Average Convergence Divergence Indicator, it sounds like a really complex, complicated thing. And it has some math behind it. There are equations that came into building up the MACD, but let's break it down a little bit. So what it is it's a leading indicator that tells where price might go based on momentum. So it's useful for planning trades in the near future and confirming reversals. It's a leading indicator, so it leads into where price might go, as opposed to a lagging indicator that's sort of telling us based on history where price would go. Okay. So it has history behind it, but it gears toward future planning more so than looking behind. It's not 100% reliable, but it is a strong momentum indicator nonetheless. It can fake you out, sort of like the RSI, and it's best used in conjunction or in confluence with other indicators for price action and momentum. So again, I'll use it with the RSI. I'll use it with Bollinger Bands, with VWAP, with different support and resistance levels to confirm whether I want to get into a trade or not. So you have to understand, it uses past data, but it has more of a leading sort of formulation. So where price may go, that's where it gets, people are like, oh, well, it wasn't accurate in this particular case. It's because it's kind of, it's leading you into where a trade might go, but price action has a mind of its own. The market has a mind of its own. So you don't want to just use this as your only indicator for sure. Okay. So how it works. Now you have two components to the MACD. You have the MACD line and the signal line. I'll show you these. And then you have a histogram that rides in the middle of it. And so the MACD line takes two moving averages, often the 26 period EMA, exponential moving average, and the 12 period EMA, the 12 exponential moving average, for whatever period you set, daily, weekly, monthly, and it'll subtract the big EMA value from the small EMA value. That's your MACD line. So it's a single line. The signal line takes the 9 exponential moving average of the MACD line. Okay, so it's a signal line. And so when the MACD line crosses through or above the signal line, it can be considered a buy signal. And when it crosses through or below the signal line, it can be considered a sell signal. Let's take a look at it. So in this little chart snippet I've taken, let me move my camera to the side here. Alrighty. So you can see that I have some different indicators. I have the RSI and I have some Bollinger Bands here. But this is on an AMD, or Advanced Micro Devices chart. That's the particular stock I was trading here. You can see the MACD down here below. And so the blue line is your MACD line. That's the 26 minus the 12 EMA, subtract this. That makes that line here. And the signal line is this orange line, the 9 EMA of the blue line. And so when the blue line crosses underneath the signal line, you can see where price tends to go down. It's leading you into the idea that we're heading into a downtrend. And you can see that with the RSI. You can see that with price action. Now, when it crosses up, we've gotten to a point where RSI is close to oversold, right? Well, price is sitting in this value area here. You can see the candle starting to level off at a particular area, but the MACD is becoming, these moving averages are moving upward, or the 26 and the 12, that resultant EMA, that MACD line is curling above its signal line. The 9 EMA of the MACD line curls above, and then price starts to go up. And here we go. Hits the Bollinger Band. It finds another value region up here. And then you can see the MACD lines curling, the blue MACD line curling below the signal line again. And price tends to go back down here. As you can see, there's a confluence point here because the RSI is close to oversold. It's touching oversold here once and then twice. And then with the MACD curling, it tells us maybe this is leaning toward a selling situation, right? So the histogram. Now the histogram, you can see these little bars sitting here. The longer the bars, the stronger the momentum in that given direction. So if the MACD is curling up, that tells us that the histogram bars are growing larger. That momentum swinging upward is getting stronger. And you can see that on the chart. When it's curling, when the bars are getting smaller, the momentum's running out. Similarly, when the MACD is curling downward and the bars are turning red and getting larger, the momentum swinging down is getting larger. And you can see that on the chart as well. The price action, right? The bright or the very green bars are stronger momentum. The little faded green bars are less momentum in the buying direction or bullish direction. And the strong or the solid red color bars are strong selling momentum, bearish momentum. And the light red bars are a kind of weaker selling momentum, right? So you can see the strength of this momentum with the MACD. So it's another indicator that's used in confluence with our other indicators to make even better entries, right? I showed you with this, and you'll learn about the Bollinger Bands and the RSI, but it's not a standalone and it can fake you out at times. So let's take a look at a chart really quickly. I want to show you guys. Let's run to AMD really quickly. Okay, let's open that chart up real quick. So I think we've got it there. And I want to go to the chart. We're on Trading View here. Really cool site for, learning about or for charting things on it's a good charting app. I've got the S&P index here. We want to go to AMD, right? Just so we can keep the same stock. These are a couple of stocks I've been researching and stuff. But let's take a look at AMD. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. All right. Let's go to a daily chart. Let's get rid of some of these indicators. So I've got a lot of stuff drawn up on here. So take away moving averages, take away VWAP. Let's go to, so here's an AMD chart. I've got this drawn up quite a lot of different ways. Let's see if we can get rid of some of those drawings. And I want to go to, MACD. Okay. Okay. So I'm using the free version on this. Let's delete some of this stuff. We got a lot of stuff on here. I don't need volume and all right. So I'll go MACD. Okay. And we'll plot our MACD. So okay. So you can see, and I can just kind of look on here, all these advertisements. Okay, thank you. All right, so you can see on here, we had a lot of bullish movement here. We had a strong trade going upwards for advanced micro devices. This was in late 2021. And then when it got to a point of oversold on the RSI, you can draw this RSI out more so you can see that. When it got to a certain point on this RSI where it's oversold or in this oversold territory, you can see the MACD also, the momentum starts swinging that way. This would have told me this might be a good selling point, especially if I see a resistance line here. If I put my lines back on there, no, I didn't. Yeah, I put a channel there, but I can draw a resistance line here. We can see price touching it 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and that would have been a good opportunity to sell. Similarly, if we go back, and I draw these shapes to show, like, the movements and the duration of trends and stuff like that. We don't need all this stuff though. Right now, I'm trying to look for a nice. Okay, let's get rid of some of these little triangles and stuff I've drawn on here. I don't need that. But I'll just show you. We have a resistance or a support line here, and it's bouncing off this, bouncing off this, bouncing off this. Keep touching this support. It tells me we're in a demand zone. And look here, we have an oversold situation on the RSI. MACD looks oversold. The histogram is very red. That means there's a lot of selling activity, and it starts to curl up around here. Ooh, I wish I can get this little. I'll show the MACD itself. Okay, and we can see the MACD start to curl, and it kind of fizzles out, and then it curls all the way up, and that's a bullish move up, right? And we can look on the RSI and see the same thing, right? RSI starts to curl up the same time. Not as dramatic as I'd like to see, but let's see if we can get a good. And AMD is a pretty strong company, so we'll probably see more overbought situations than oversold. Let's see if we can get a good one. There's a lot of good. Here's a good one. So a lot of buying activity here on the left. It comes down, starts to sell off after it reaches. Look, we got an auction area. We got a strong resistance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times it hit there on the daily chart. Starts curling down. Look at the MACD. Look at the RSI going from overbought, coming back through the red to a neutral, right? So it's not really overbought anymore. And as it does that, the MACD lines, the histogram is getting smaller and smaller, and the MACD line is curling under its signal line. That would have been a good indication. Maybe I should sell right there. And then it comes all the way back down and sells off strong. It gaps down. Looks like they had some earnings, but it gaps down. It's lots of selling activity. And look at the MACD line, running. Got another. And the RSI gets oversold. And look, the MACD, lots of gap between that signal line and that MACD line tells me it's a strong sell. But look, as it curls back, and you'll see the indicator curling back, and as those lines cross, the RSI starts curling up, and look at price. It starts curling up. You could have gotten in around the point where the MACD is about to touch, bought, sold off here, made a few bucks, per share. Or if you're selling options, if you're more advanced, you could have made a couple $100, right? And we see this MACD doing this over time. Here's another situation. We got buying, and then it starts selling, and it sells off, and we're getting oversold, and then the RSI starts curling up, the MACD starts curling, and the histogram goes from red to green, and the two lines cross over each other, and look, bullish movement. We start buying, and the price action starts moving up a lot, right? The two lines of MACD can come together and diverge, come together and diverge. That's just telling us the trend is resuming after stopping at a value area. So this is just another indicator. Again, we use it in Confluence, as I just showed you, with other indicators. But that's an idea of what the moving average convergence divergence indicator is and what it does. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Review the slides, do your homework, and I'll see you guys in the next video. All right.